Okay, we're gonna start.
Yeah.
A lot of times we're just doing nothing.
You don't have to stand way back there. You can crowd up, sit here. It's a very comfortable space. Lots of area. We have a little background music, but
Yep.
Welcome to, this is Word with a Side of Branch. This is our first meeting being filmed live, MCAT, Channel 7. Went to the essay the other day and bought me a bag of Paw's potato chips. On the back I found a little something. It goes like this. The hep cat's gone Flip City. Chester Cheetah stole the kitty. The big purse from new brand Snap. One day the cat was out casing joints for jewels to drool. Slapped up a few flunkies, bumped up a few junkies. To get his favorite dope, Cheetos. Cruised down the street, smoked the whole local kingpin. Man, he thought he was in. Word got around that Chester Cheetah was getting down by the wayside. Blowing loots and coots like he was crazy. Then one day the big man came down hard and heavy on Chester Cheetah. Gave rods to his mules to smoke the fool at his house. But Chester Cheetah was too cool and could smell the heat a mile away from his feet. Out on the rooftops, that man was slick, jumping buildings like he was sick. And when the heat got around, my man was nowhere to be found, because he was the rat trap cat, cool, slick city. It's amazing how advertising and little poetry can really sell products these days. Okay, our first reader of the evening is Kevin Postapek. Kevin?
Okay, can you hear me back there?
Yeah.
Okay, you hear back there? All right. All right, this first poem. It's been a week today that I got this horrible haircut that is just finally coming out. So this is called Bad Haircut. Meditating on the ramifications of existence with each strand, methodically, painstakingly caressing each follicle, one by one, as if the meaning of life could be divined from the whorls on my scalp. Shaman-like, you consecrate the ground with a spray from your squirt bottle, until finally, after deep introspection, contemplation, purification, snip. A single hair bounces off my nose and falls to the floor. I feel thrust into some great, ancient ritual. Minutes stretch into epochs. I spy you in the mirror, studying my head like a scholar would the Rosetta Stone. I watch with bleeding eyes the fluorescent lights reflected in the scissor blade opening slowly. Snip, snip, snip. The geological history of Earth passes before my eyes with each floating strand. I anticipate each cut like Christians the millennium, and I know for sure that I'll be late for lunch. Snip, snip, snip. And I emerge hours later, aged like Methuselah, reeking of moose, thinking about eternity and Chinese prison camps. Okay, this next one, this is called Therapy in the New Age. I'm not okay, you're not okay. What's your dysfunction? My inner child is an incest victim by myself from a previous incarnation. I'm healing. I gotta work at my inner child. Maybe I can take it to an inner child care center. Do they have Montessori for this. I can drop it off before work, and I can meet lots of other inner children. And then I'll pick it up on the way home, and each day I'll be able to deal with it better. I got lots of stuff. How about you? I got lots of stuff too. Is it getting stuffy in here? What's your dysfunction? I'm working on my inner fetus. It seems it suffered from severe womb retentiveness. Now I'm dealing with womb envy, compounded by having to come to terms with the sexual abuse I underwent when the doctor who delivered me spanked my naked bottom. It was 38 years ago. It seems I've been repressing it ever since. But now I'm giving myself permission to feel these feelings, and that's okay. I got lots of stuff. Me too. What's your dysfunction? I used to be addicted to love, sex, money, relationships, coffee, tea, cigarettes, alcohol, food, drugs, possessions, and whatever show came on NBC at 10 o'clock on Thursday nights. But now I'm not sure if I'm addicted or just addicted to the idea of being addicted. So I'm going to a past life therapist, got my inner child on a strict macrobiotic diet. I sleep with crystals sewn into my blankets, and I think I'll fly out to Mount Shasta to find out if I'm actually one of the Ascended Masters. That would explain a lot. I got lots of stuff. Okay, this next one of my pet peeves is that people aren't aware of their environment anymore. And one of the new technologies is called virtual reality, which will eliminate awareness. So this poem is called Virtual Reality. Critical mass clock punchers, meat-grinded craniums crammed like dusty attics with media junk and memorabilia overflowing as synapses snap and neurons crackle and pop. And if we only use 5% of our brain, how can we have headaches all the time? And somewhere in there, memory of first word as we're plopped on the treadmill in swaddling clothes, crying out, more! And 30 years later, still window shopping for that beautiful house and that beautiful wife, trying to reclaim our birthright promised to us in 11 million hours of TV, wondering, where can it be? Where can it be? And God won't tell us, and drugs are too expensive, and there's too much sex on TV and not enough at home, so the answer might lie there. But in the meantime, we wait for Saturday to see if our 6 numbers match, and when they do, by God, we'll be out of here so fast like a tachyon. And we swallow hope like uppers, hope junkies, hope-doped eyes glued to cathode horizons, strung out waiting for second coming or Armageddon, anything to get a break from the routine or a day off. And the birds still sing and the flowers still grow in the field as science marches through, and what we will consider are the images in a helmet and sensations in a glove, homecoming in a headset, scientific satori. And we turn on and tune in as all over the place, trees fall in the forests, and signs go up saying, reality for sale. Okay, this next one is kind of a list of everything that bothers me in the world. It's called Progress. We now have makeup that makes you look like you're not wearing makeup, and light beer, and light wine, and light soda, and light pizza, chocolate mousse, and beef stroganoff, and light bulbs with a third less watts, and light water with half the calories of regular water, and dairyless eggs and cheese with rennet and acidophilus and a third less taste, and 0 cholesterol, and 50 exercise machines, and 150 diet plans, and 200 workout books, and 2,000 health clubs, and 10,000 women in spandex driving me nuts, and 98% fat-free hamburgers, and 100% brand cereal with oat bran and fiber that can also be used as kitty litter in case you run out, and 100% cotton clothes and organic foods that are 300% more expensive, and light Westonality and Florence Henderson with a third less brain cells, and prepackaged carrot strips and celery strips and broccoli strips, and microwavable french fries ready in 23 seconds so you can use your time for other things like flipping the remote control through 100 channels of TV and 15 talk shows and 20 police shows and 30 lawyer shows and 300 soap operas and 3,000 commercials and one too many Arsenio Halls, and keeping up with the latest news like Bo Jackson signing for $3 million and Janet Jackson signing for $32 million and Michael Jackson signing for $62 million, and I wish my last name was Jackson, and whatever happened to that guy named Reggie, and the Pentagon and Boeing celebrating the end of the war with a new jet fighter costing $62 billion as Congress votes against maternity leaves without pay for women, and poets and artists clean toilets and hold bake sales, and do you think the minimum wage will break $5 by the year 2000? And by then we'll see over $1 trillion sold on McDonald's marquees, and the national debt will be in Googleplexes, and everyone will speak English and wear baseball caps and say, have a nice day, and everything will be new and improved and all natural, and we'll have eyesores called art and earsours called music, and disposable buildings making Van Gogh and Mozart and Frank Lloyd Wright roll over in their graves. And experts will tell us that these things are good. And we'll all belong to the nuclear family of bombs and use strontium-90 to preserve our food and kill crabgrass in our backyards and get rid of yeast infections and jock itch. And if Jesus were here, all he'd say would be appalling and beam me up, Scotty. And Antarctica will be the next big theme park. And the only rainforest left will be rainforest scent air freshener by Glade. And the hole in the ozone will make copper cone stocks skyrocket. So buy now, buy. And we'll work and work and work and work and work to make money, 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 money. And we'll have a computer and a television surgically implanted in our heads to give our brains a rest. And we'll know everything there is to know under the sun. And we'll sell the 10,000 things. And our IRAs will finally mature and we'll all move to the country and live the simple life.
Thank you, Kevin. Our next reader is Bill Gunn.
Okay, these are excerpts from my book entitled Dangerous Book by William Michael Patrick O'Dunn. And the first item is called Of Captives. I gotta get my glasses on. Of captives. A pack of caged fools, you are spoon-fed directives and dogma, and all you do is memorize it and feed it back. Learn to think for yourself, or you shall be captives all of your lives. This next item is called Of the Captors. If you give yourself up to repression, that is, if you let anyone tell you how to live, where to live, how to think, what to be, just so you'll be safe, you might as well walk to Auschwitz, Buchenwald, Weimauthausen, Dachau, Treblinka, Bergen-Belsen, Czestochowa, Pinau, Posen, Birkenau, Gross-Rosen, or Flossenburg, and lay yourself in the oven. To the behavioral scientists, well, some of you did figure a few things out, didn't you? But what about all those animals and human guinea pigs you turned into things that aren't quite animals anymore, or aren't quite human anymore either? Geez, guys, I mean really, all in the name of science? Would you like to know what is happening to Pavlov right about now, at this point in eternity? I think the dogs have the upper hand. And also, you had better stop putting those little number tags on the wings of butterflies. They don't like it one day in bed. On the other hand, the behavioral scientists on either side know something. If they get together and shake their missiles over everybody's head, that creates fear. And if you are afraid, you are a lot easier to control. However, if you can learn to reason away that fear and overcome it, you will know a kind of freedom and gain a sense of the eternal that nothing can destroy. To you who shoot eagles, boy, you really are nuts. You don't think they have memories? Ha! I dare you to go out there without your rifle tomorrow. To the fear merchants. Hi guys, how you doing? Getting a little scared? If I were you at this point in eternity, I would be. Yeah, I know. Fear the Lord, fear God, fear life, fear death, fear this, fear that. Fear us is what you're really saying. Do what we say, or we'll do all kinds of terrible things to you until you do. Ha, you stupid fools. Do you have any idea what waits for you in that terrible dark place you created for everybody else? Well, I do, and I, for one, am not going to try and protect you anymore. You don't want to listen, so as far as I'm concerned, it can have you. A raging, vengeful lover. They took his life and then his wife and bound her to the floor. And when she screamed and wailed in fight, he walked in through the door. They could not see, they could not flee the thing that tore them apart. Beware the rage within the cage of the vengeful spirit's heart. The dancer. Happenstance and miles of chance have brought me to believe that never will I cease to dance, nor will I seek to leave. Just checking. There's no more time for bullshit. You've got to be for real. Tell all the others exactly how you feel. You'll know by their reaction which are fine and free, which will make you captive, and who will let you be. Elsie. When I look at Elsie, I could almost cry. To be a free spirit, truly she did try. In 1938, she ran through the streets with not a stitch on, not even sheets. They brought her here to cure her, so they say, shock treatment, drugs, and therapy, and teach her the error of her way. She's mindless now and very old. I thought her story should be told. Of a journey. Black as the pits of hell, you say. I see no reason to fear. I've been to the darkest dungeon pit and found it to be despair. Not darkness stays my step this night, nor full of moon nor sun bright. You no longer tell me tales of woe and sell me your rankling fear. I found my love, I have, I tell you, and she at last is here. The eagle that would not fly. Do you know a tale is told of an eagle that would not fly, and though the others chided her, she said she'd rather die. Then one day a sparrow said, would you like to die in bed? She said she thought that nice, but only if he brought her ice. To freeze, he said, would be the best, to end the fear and all the rest. The sparrow said, a mountain you'll climb, and there you'll find the ice in time. She climbed and labored there, and found an eagle, snowy and white, who said to her, now you must fight. She ran in fear o'er the atmosphere and flew at last, conquering fear. It's about pedestals. If you're going to put somebody up on a pedestal, that's okay. It makes them feel good. But make it only about a foot high. That way, when they screw up, they won't have too far to fall. This next item is dedicated to a man who is doing life in your lives prison for a crime he did not commit. It's called Ode to a Con, dedicated to Rich Stewart. They locked him up for the first time when he was only 8. His mama didn't want him, so she gave him to the state. Passed from home to home, trying to be free. They didn't understand him, they didn't want to see. Punished and rejected, passed around the town, a runaway and free again, this time at ages 12. They could not break his facile mind, so they put it on the shelf. Nonetheless, at this regress, he would not give it up. I'll be free again, he said. They told him to shut up. To David Arbett Miller's School for Boys, they sent him to be trained. To Pastor Rogo's School for Boys, again to be detained. To Preston School of Industry, they're going to make him bright. As Tracy Penny graduates, they'll show him how to fight. Vanderbilt's the next stop, Gladiator School. He takes his lumps, and then he jumps to Calvin's Colony, proving he's no fool. On to Soledad, no lemonade, no piece of cake is this. And on to San Quentin, he ain't relenting, they try to kill but miss. 13 years of hard time, and a lady gets him out. Feeling free and right at last, it makes him want to shout. Off to the forest they go to be, not knowing what's in store, each believing while it lasts, it's better than before. Shaking off society, packing in all their goods, guns and food and camping gear, they're going to the woods. A fateful day, her life is lost, a firearm accident. He cannot see how this can be, his heart is truly rent. Can't tell the law, they bust his jaw and say it was a lie. So he buries her there quietly so, and says a last goodbye. This next item is entitled The Butchers. All of you gutless old men who are in positions of power and want to start wars for young men to die in, you better think again. In the book about World War I, All Quiet on the Western Front by Eric Remarque, he was right. If you're so tough and you're so sure it's right, get yourself some baseball bats, get into an arena somewhere, and you slug it out. We'll find out just how tough and real and right you are, you meat hooks. Dedicated to Bobby, a Vietnam veteran who was a nice guy and was released from the Miami Veterans Hospital psychiatric ward without any means of support whatsoever and committed suicide 3 days later. This one is entitled Lover's Eye. There is a place, enchanted soul, everyone is a sinner. And even the roses, thorns had they not, lest someone prick their finger. 'Tis bright and bonny and isle, they say, fair and emerald green, where everyone loves all day long and nary a tear is seen. Legend it is, and could be found by you, for only lovers go there. If you truly love and are loved in turn, you can find it most anywhere. Nature's touch. Sunlight filtering through the trees, translucent grains of spring, magic moment, sensing things unseen, reaching out, touching, being touched. Will they ever understand what they try to destroy is the answer to their dreams? The final solution, it's simple. Just love and let love. Signed, well done. Thank you.
Our next reader is Glenn Ford.
Good evening. So it's something I scratched out recently entitled Ode to My Imagined Self. I have identified the seat and source of my fear and anger, and they are me. I am my most terrible enemy. Forgive me, if it pleases you, my trespasses, as I will, in time, forgive myself as well as imagined others, who trespass upon my imagined field of activities. And please, may I be delivered from my own wild imaginings. What I have prepared myself for in this life will be tested at journey's end in the form of death. That one moment, if it be but one moment, of testing that which ideally I will be most attached to, that is love. We will then give up everything, but that which is in our heart of hearts, that which is cognizant of all our psychic and sensual movements. The sublime, the divine autocrat, who is sometimes called love. And if our method be correct, to have it all for all eternity. That is, if we do not return but to begin a new chapter of an old lesson in a collectively ancient tone, in which each step is a dance and every word a song. All of this, which is yet in the future, is known. Therefore, we cannot forget something that is known. So how can we forget a thing that is not known as yet? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Glenn. Our next reader now is Cheryl Milton. No.
No.
I thought we were supposed to only read poems about either pizza or food. So, my first poem is called Cougar Pizza. A guy offered me a slice of cougar. He was proud of this illegal meat, held it out in white paper, showed it to me, and I saw it on a branch, tail twitching, pink sun bleeding into magenta heaven, a slice of coiled muscle, pale and tender dusk on a frozen lake. The last glance of the sun lights up in passing a blue-red forest on the far slope, the black shapes of horses and elk, green beneath the white, blue pushing out from behind the gray. This meat flares briefly in lustrous concentric striations and then leaps onto the back of a running figure. And what you now see this man slicing onto his pizza is only a shimmering image that will run away with itself. The next poem is called Math Poem. I was audited in 1986 for some unreported waitressing, and I ended up paying 6 times the original amount. Yesterday, this grim bitch on the phone sluiced through her teeth the information that I am now being audited for the 2 years before that, too, and have to file immediately for 6 and 7 years ago. I said I don't remember where I worked then, or if I worked, and where I lived. And she said she was sending my tax folder on to Montana, and I'd better report to a tax center myself. Then I remembered that in 1983 I left my husband and moved way uptown with 4 other women in a building so run down the city seized it from the owner, making it a 7A, which means a sleazy lawyer gets paid to continue running the place down and sexually harassing female tenants. I threw my tax forms away that year. I made $8,000. And the next year, I don't know, it seems I worked all the time, like I lived on the subway. In December, I had to move from the Bronx into a room in Washington Heights. I hope I did my taxes that year. I don't know. But now I read that in Texas, an 80-year-old man killed himself after his banker, Charles Keating, lost the old man's life savings while managing to increase his own substantial fortune. In one of those years, I was waitressing in a place where every day I tied this rag around my hair and put all the chairs up on tables and mopped the floor after my shift. And now the IRS says they've investigated me through friends and family and employers, and they found more quarters beneath the dirty plates. And I know right now, if they push my mother, she'll sing. Today in the mail, I got an envelope. It says IRS. It has a red line around the bottom, like its butt is bleeding, or yours will be once you open it. When I do open it, they tell me in triplicate I overpaid $60 in 1988, and they will be sending it on to me. This is called intermittent reinforcement. Good cop and psycho cop. The terrible voice of the woman who called with the news was the sound something makes when it gnaws on a bone. And there's this jinx cloud overhead. It's in the shape of a hand or a large wrinkled empty glove. It falls slowly over my head. I look up and then I remember IRS. Say thank you. Smile. You get bigger tips. Lie still. Disassociate. Become like a TV in the background of your own life. Sleep so hard when you wake up you're old. The windows and the mirrors darken. Say thank you to the silence and smile. Here is the difference between mind and object, and here is the likeness. This is what metaphor is for. A demon in the basement, for example. The shadow in your doorway coiled loosely around, loosely put, a smile. Smile into the darkness at the bus stop, at the stopped car with a businessman hissing his business of tumescence and detumescence. Smile and turn away if you can, if you have a job, if you have a husband. Don't tell anyone. Keep it to yourself. What goes on here between you and I? What we do, you'd go to jail too. I'll kill your dog. Learn to cooperate. Then he says, we free verse poets have been very bad boys. And his friend says, buddies of mine on the writing scene would disagree. But I'm the baddest boy of all. I'm the girl you're afraid will talk. I'm the small, mad, uninvited voice that describes your back and underside and how it looked on the porno corner at Lake Street and Clinton Avenue when I got off the bus at night coming home from work. And what they said to us to keep us from telling, back when it started, before we had words, when all they could do was keep telling us to smile, honey. Last poem is called The International Luncheon. It was written for Malcolm Forbes when he rented Morocco for his 70th birthday party. People ask if I feel okay. My skin is off color, like I've got no sunshine, or I've been hiding, or both. Meanwhile, helicopters descend like butterflies onto the estate. Ladies step out in gauze and chiffon and diamonds from South Africa, and even in this heat, the furs are extinct listed. The Times mentions Liz Taylor's Prince of Wales brooch and a hot gasp. Don Trump, who rents New York City for $1 a year, lays on top of the welfare hotels. It smells like garbage is burning. He raises an open fist at the mayor, and together they hiss, yes, more for us. A ton of salmon is waiting. A line of servants dressed in formal attire with 400 quail. The politician's wife dances with a dress designer, and the owner of empires grasps Mick Jagger's wife and then grins like an old bad dog. I take the train to the South Bronx schools where there aren't enough books to go around the cracking classroom. Never less than 38 children whose education is intended to funnel them into a factory that burned down in 1960, when the fire from here made people look this way and say, what a shame, then turn their attention back to the game and never again look past Yankee Stadium at the gray smoke gathering over empty high-rises like individual tornadoes. And I say this is no accident. This requires helicopter luncheons, where Henry Kissinger flies in from Berlin to sit next to some dried-out old dame who owns about everything. This is the careful business of old, evil dogs. Thanks.
Our next reader is Miss Linda Margrave.
February 8th, 1989. The thrill of self-revelation cuts like a razor's edge. When saying and listening culminate in a single point, a point too sharp to safely contemplate. I find myself in a valley. I cry out to the blaze of orange in the west. Like liquid love, I bare my breast. I find myself so small and tortured. My naivete is my strongest asset. My silly white body remains unbruised. The anger swells like a woman's bloated stomach. The fear of people grows like an evil flower, it smells of gasoline. We all need a place to call home. January 29th, 1991. On the eve of insanity, the loneliness fits her like a glove, form and figure, and yes, ache. Misdirected needs and intellect. Where is the rational, hiding for a bit, gone underground, to press upwards through the dirt into full bloom and color, multicolored flesh, black yet blue? April 11th, 91, 6:45 p.m. To you. The tree, a rushing, lonely sound, a luminous pumpkin, Pythagorean charm, a mountainous dream of painful skies below, the arch of sodden breasts, an old woman's back hunched in ecstasy. July 17th, 91. In the fading dark, they struggle to see one from another like brother and sister. So tender the fear, the waxy light of a spiced candle black, the lust hidden, refined sugar so salty in the quaint city night. To get lost in a drunken blur of anarchic friendship is deadly for her now. Like a foregone childhood dream, the raw edge of her Renaissance sense bleeds for daily, an ache for something. She's tired enough to know a fuck will suffice. Undated, one gray day. She smiles, and few understand. She tries to freak, eating baby food long a string of public telephones. Ha ha, no one home. Her mind a forced rhythm. Her life is in spastic combustion that keeps rising, then crashes underwater. October 16th, 91. Fuck out the fear that divides my mind in two, to cross the synapse of that insanity, to mold a darkish virgin spore. I'm a whore. Do you dare to love me? No, I'm out the door. October 17th, 91. Knocking on his door again. Should I let this man in? Inside of me it is warm, but his dark flesh is hotter, flushed with furious sweat. The rhythm of a Satanist pain to shock a chorus to the downstream. The frantic perceptions are ruled by ritual, a phallus like some myth to suck life from in a darkening mood. Freedom from the illness is what we crave, contextual insanity bred on malnutrition. A man who can, and then again, the pleasure rampant like a craft. He taught me to read the graph of my reddened brain. October 26th, 91. The urge to cut is gone. I feel relief, but I've got the blues. I don't mind too much, but a little, like a pea beneath the mattresses. I hear the screams. Yeah, I'm in an ivory tower, counting coppers to the millions. I'm warm with myself. My hair is brown but red. It changes with my mood and the seasons. The moon and the dirt fight for my blood. The earth wins and I sit, feeding, always feeding. We all grow fat. November 13th, 1991. John thinks he's sexy. Well, guess what? He is. Those dirty fingernails, put them somewhere dirtier. He likes to lure me because his glasses are weak. Well, come on, honey. Watch me, watch me, watch me freak.
Our next reader is Dave Thomas.
feel like I'm auditioning to be a ring announcer.
I've been living and working and wandering around Missoula for a long time. And what I've got is just a few little poems that are about, pretty much about that. This is called Homeward Bound. Friday, after a long week, I sit in the shade of Reserve Street overpass, waiting for the number 10 bus. A pleasant breeze cools my tired feet. Crossing the knapweed patch, the rail yard, traipsing through the knapweed, I'll make you a cold rail souffle. Clouds scud above Point 6, Granite Creek, TV Mountain. I study the vehicles on Highway 10. They all have wheels, people who drive. I see the bus stand up, wave my hat. The seat soft against tire. Grasshoppers jump, my feet crunch their lovely leaves. I think that's about fatigue. I think that's This is another poem that came out of a job that I was on. It's called The Mansion. The view from here stretches Blue Mountain to Everill Hill, TV Mountain, the rattlesnake rise in the cloud. It's been a day of shifting weather, a shower of rain, burst of sun, full rainbow arcs as we seek a break in the wire to the parking lot lights. This old man's, once home to a founding family, now after a tricky move, the site of high roller dining and a little 9-hole golf course. Stage 1 air alert the last few days is lifted, and the Frenchtown Mill seems almost dainty with its moon's steam. I was born and grew up on the High Line in north central Montana. Every once in a while for various holidays and other isolated occasions I return. And I've always wanted to write a poem about my hometown. And this is as close as I've ever come. It's called A Demographic Study on Christmas Eve, Chinook, Montana, 1990. In the Elks, with its famous neon sign featuring a cowgirl and a cocktail glass, mostly Indians hang out. A mug of draft beer costs 50 cents. Next door in the Arrow, it's a few white guys just off work in insulated coveralls. The beer comes in a plastic mug, 60 cents. The mint is nearly empty, the mug small, the price 70 cents. The pastime held a cheerful crowd, the mug was larger and went for 75. The old cozy corner burned to the ground last summer, and now a nearly depleted Christmas tree lot flashes snow in the dying light in the evening. Last year, a friend of mine suggested that I should write a Halloween poem. And so I did, and it's called Halloween Poem. Behold the mask. No mere dinosaur figment, or even one of Uncle Oak's vulcanized specials. This mask pulses with blood, wears its own breath with a tribal chant, veins carved in its surface by visioned hands. Behold the mask reflecting flame in the dark, frosty night. Whispers form its painted lips, drawing forth druidic dreams. Leaves dancing their shape to soil, smoke rising through empty eyes. Behold the mask bearing its bone in a circle of feathers, drumming the raw red flesh of a heart newly sawn on a wet, sticky altar. Behold the mask the assassin wears, slipping through the shadow with his razor knife to expose moonlight and bone white. Behold the mask as billions of colored dots shimmer the screen of the world's. Who do you see? Your leader, your mother, father, a friend, coyote, the trickster, the court jester, a soap-selling fool? Behold the mask of children at your door, the teeny pretense of trick or treat, as blizzards feel behind a mountain shoulder. Behold the mask weeping its own tears, set as diamonds in finest mahogany. Coming home now, angelic choirs sing high, sweet praise, the fresh dawn, new shadows on the changing face of earth. Behold the mask.
reader is Robert Firth. This is called Memoriam. Why not start up again with the candle, burning in a bottle on the table, because this is partly about fire. Fire shaped down to a small flame. A flame that is exactly like itself, standing on the table with no other likeness. So I'll say this flame and wait for it to mean something. Outside a car goes by, at least it sounds like a car. But I'm wrong, because it means nothing at all. It's just an empty repetition. There are no likenesses in here. But then, why did I say start up again? And why is it now a question? So it is a likeness, but different also. As if I'd started with the cigarette burning instead, I'd still be close to this point. After all, the words keep reappearing, so I was wrong. I must be more careful from now on. The flame, or rather, this flame, is still burning, and I remember the candle when I lit it. It stood tall and white. Yes, I remember it clearly, and now it has burned to the bottleneck. The moments have burned it up, or rather, burned it down. I'm sorry, I wasn't there for most of them. I was talking on the telephone and found out that someone I remember just died. It's called Dog. To fill a form, a breath is blown in hot, but clay cracks, its dust in cold wind. Sometimes questions can't be ignored. A dream blowing through my mind, tattered black fabric, a snarling dog at my head in my room, and now a broken stick, drops of blood, and my arms are stuck. I can't breathe. Bark. But Christ, it's just a dream. I'm awake now. Bark. Bark answers the angry dog next door to the question of its own bark. A ripsaw choked in wood. Bark. Why can't it sleep till noon like the cat, or say some softer word like peach or tree, or shut the fuck up forever? But I can't answer, therefore I can't sleep through it. Bark. It divides air, hollows air, snaps its convulsive note. Bark. Again, bark. It's saying something backwards, words backed into a corner, all hunch, glare, and growl. Bark. It breaks the calm surface, the day's skin, bites through the mind's dream, down into the body that's dumb to language. But it knows what teeth are for, and knows the dog speaks not a word, not a symbol, but utters a whole body. Bark. A body. Bark. Like a body stuck to a cross, its blood now better than its word. Bark go all the bodies, hungry and scared, scared and hungry, all bark, breaking the smooth form of skin and dream, all eating and breathing each other. Bark. And I guess it's time to get up and go to work. It's windy and dry, and crack, crack, says the old pine tree in my backyard. And I bite off a deep breath as the wind wheezes, then barks. Bark, bark, bark. And this is the last one. Origami. I could fold the voices of my mind, have them and have them again, run a thumb along their edges, hand you a small square of paper and call it my confession. That is, if I really had fingers in my mind, and if I could only remember what crimes. So there is no paper, no evidence, only words shaped from air like origami. This one saying, I'm a bird, and more, I'm a crane. See the shape of my wings, and see how one is broken. And this one saying, I'm a young woman, see my naked body, but look closer. I'd lie on the floor just as still as that chair and table with the letter on it. And here is blood gone red in the shape of shapelessness, which says, too soon, the story wasn't finished. But now a wind blows through the window, and its shape is the origami bird swaying on his thread, and the letter lifting off the table, and the still woman's hair feathering. And now the turning to see how snow has covered the small mountains through the window. And so the voices are quietly folded to sleep, and the shape of confession unfolds its wings, rises, and flies blindly back into a world edgeless and empty as a sphere of perfect white paper. Thanks.
Our next reader is Jeffrey Hard.
I had 3 stories, but I lost one, so I have 2. My first one's called Leaving Montana. L.A., the great escape. Gold and sun-ridden, skates and knit caps. Little boys and beautiful girls. Not mean like the girls here in my town. This Neanderthal tundra, Montana, breeds girls that kill. Cold and translucent like icicles. They're full size, 100, 200 pounds, and razor points at the tip. That's why I'm going to escape to California. To get a girl, because that's all there really is to life. I mean, I have a job, but what's a job? I get paid to buy my 40 ounces, then the money is gone, and I've got to go to work again. See, it's a trap. After the cold, gold, old English 800 is down, nothing seems so bad. Actually, that song is really fucking good. I should play music. Grunge to rip my hair out, to tell all my enemies what they should know. They're fucks. Grunge should bring all the world to me. I'll have to do that later when I'm sober. But then later you remember that you can't sing, can't play guitar, can't keep a beat. And then the reeling realization that it's 8 o'clock, time to go to work. And I slide through another shift, holding the hanging overs at bay until it's time to go home. Then all you can do is think and hope that someone will call and want to go out to down some brew. That's why I'm going to escape to California. Low elevation, you see, no one drinks in LA. They do smart drugs, drugs that elevate your mind, extend the waves, warm the earth. I'll just do coke and cruise over the perfectly paved, wide roads. Have you seen the sorry excuses for pavement we have around here? Rocks and cracks and cheap Comanches every 4 feet. I'll have swellbo all year from falling on these crappy sidewalks. No, my job sucks, the sidewalks suck, the girls suck. What is it about this place? It's snow and the wet dirt and rocks that turn up and create gray for all to see. It's a cool mush at the tip of your Birkenstock. Yeah, right below the wool sock. Yeah, it's trees and wind and wood smoke and carrying a pitcher right out the back door into the alley for a hit or two with the boyos right before hopping into a car and driving home. Yeesh, I'm gonna name my skateboard Cyclops and ride south. Cyclops was a meat eater, an animal. He got what he wanted. And I'm gonna ride him all I can to watch the road for me and deliver me up to the best falafel hut with the most wonderful girls. I'll look around, road weary and Montana rugged, and a special one. You know, the intelligent, the pretty one will see me. I'll look at her and then quickly look away. She'll look say I'm flashing a cute, innocent, clean smile. Then I'll skate up next to her, order 1 deluxe falafel with tahini, and I'll say it and I'll pay it. Then I turn around, perfectly situated, arms bent, resting on the counter, waiting for the inevitable. Hi, she says. Want to cut a hot tubby with me and my friends? Sure, I say. Down my Mesopotamian sandwich and head for the sunset, glowing and bursting orange with my new girl. And that will do it for the short, dark days, the matriarchal Valkyries, and the excess grains and hops in my blood. Sure, all right. Send a picture or two of a tan, strong boy of 21, working in a skate shop, surfing every day, loving life, living large. All that and that's more in Cali, where a day without life-affirming great times is like a day without sunshine. Never in a million years, except for earthquakes. That's why I'm going to escape to California. Okay, this next story is called Jug 33. I was walking home through the rain and mud. In Montana, the weather makes everything rural. The trees and random plots of grass and weeds are wild, in contest with the roads and sidewalks. I'm in Missoula, but the smell and sights feel like St. Ignatius on the reservation. Dogs running loose, cars without hoods. And it was this I walked home in, and I felt good, very good. So why did those football players have to fuck everything up? At first I thought they were from another college, but then their size was too small for that. And we decided they were from another high school. They were practicing kickoffs, but without a kicker. So some jock had to throw the ball downfield instead of having a kicker. And I looked at them, and I knew the only choice was to shoot. Them, comical. They would be lumbering apes, scattering, running under restricting uniforms, while I stood off to the side, calmly letting out solid, quick shots. The field took on some geometric meaning as I saw them spread out on a terrific rectangle, little points moving in total confusion, some ceasing to move as I took care of them. It was me, a three-dimensional character, intervening on their one-dimensional world and wreaking unimaginable damage. To them, it would be an apocalypse, a divine intervention, this strange being visiting their flat land and destroying them. Jug 33.
Thank you, Jeffrey. And our last reader is Victor Binkovitz.
Hi, I'm going to read a few pieces from my book of poetry entitled The Satan Worshipper's Guide to the American Northeast. The first piece is called Dummy, and it's about a man I knew in New York who panhandled outside Penn Station every day. There's a vertical rip down the back of his jacket, just the right size for a ventriloquist's hand. But no one puts words in his mouth. In fact, he makes other people speak. When they see him lying by the escalator in the entrance of the train station holding a styrofoam cup, a golden M printed upon it, 2 curvy hills, the breasts of this beast, a wet nurse that avarice suckles on, and on, and on. A regular tosses a quarter in his cup. It rings as it hits against pennies and nickels and dimes. He doesn't look up, just grumbles, God bless, and shakes the cup to hear the jingling. His life is full of sound. The sound of the subway trains, an express rushing past the local stop, the gruff words of drunks, cackling teens from the suburbs, the sound of the billy club against the skull, the voice of God. This piece is called The Minister's Jewels. The title for my book comes from being raised by a Catholic family and growing up gay and all the hypocrisy and conflicts that come with that. The Minister's Jewels. He keeps them in a thin skin sack between his legs, nested in thin blonde spins of hair, bleached white skin soaked in the tub too long. They hang like 2 eggs in a wet cheesecloth, stretched and sagging and wrinkly and swinging gently in blue boxer shorts. Blue with thin white stripes, parallel jet trails through a big clear sky hang on his hips. Elastic just taut enough not to leave tight red marks. Those flying tiger boxers I've seen too many times, more than once when we were in love. He used to kneel before me in seminary bedroom, peal of light through semicircle window, kissing black line of hair, thick with curls from my navel down, emptying like a river into the black sea, black curly sea, salty with his spit. But now he kneels before a frozen point in time, cold Italian marble, marble nails piercing marble hands, marble blood spills suspended in marble time, smooth marble legs gently crossed and nailed together in marble feet. Now he kneels before this God, with smooth marble legs like a white woman, bleached and hidden under makeup and perfume, like God is hidden under makeup and perfume, stained glass and incense. This next piece I didn't write. It's a found poem from a Department of Defense security questionnaire, and whoever wrote it had such a wonderful beat poetry sensibility. I just had to state it. It's called Yes Answers Must Be Explained. in accordance with the detailed instructions. Are you now, or have you ever been, a member of the Communist Party or any communist organization? Are you now, or have you ever been, affiliated with any organization, association, movement, group, or combination of persons which advocates the overthrow of our constitutional form of government, or which has adopted the policy of advocating or approving the commission of acts of force or violence to deny other people their rights under the Constitution of the United States, or it seeks to alter the form of government of the United States by unconstitutional means? Have you ever used any narcotic, depressant, stimulant, hallucinogen, to include LSD or PCP, or cannabis, to include marijuana or hashish, except as prescribed by a licensed physician? Have you ever been involved in the illegal purchase, possession, or sale of any narcotic, depressant, stimulant, hallucinogen, or cannabis? Have you ever been a patient in any institution primarily devoted to the treatment of mental, emotional, psychological, or personality disorders? Have you ever petitioned to be declared bankrupt?
Thank you, Victor, and thank you everyone for coming. We hope to have future meetings. I know that we'll have one next week, and we hope to see you this time Thursday, 8 p.m. at Slackers. Thank you.
Good, Victor. Thanks. I'm sorry that I missed you. Oh, you heard the... Yeah, I was doing something once at towards the end of the night. All right, great. Yeah, I didn't get to talk to that. I was surprised. What kind of stuff you do? You like it? Yeah, some stuff I like. Really fun. One thing that really hit me, I really like about one of the red lights where you count. I kept thinking that you were going to stop counting and then you got to 40. That was great. Well, you've been in the city. Like,